The major input I remember from my induction year was from 100 yards away, somebody giving me a thumbs up to say, yes, I'm fine, I've passed. And that was any contact I already had with anybody who made a comment on how good my teaching was. Today, it's just so vastly different, I think, and quite rightly, it's much more professional. The support that we offer to newly qualified teachers, the importance we place on the induction programme, because not only do we want to recruit good teachers, but we also want to retain good teachers.
Here at Greenshaw High, Mike's got hoops to jump through to carry on teaching in this country. Danielle's on course to pass her NQT year, and Emma's just finishing her PGCE, but she's already part of the family. They're all under Pete's wing and his scrutiny.
Yes, I think there's rigour on the school's part, and there's a need to monitor, because and that's the bottom line. We need to ensure that there is quality teaching and learning going on in our school. I'd like to think that I treat new teachers in a very similar way to I teach pupils of the school, just to make sure that I show an interest and support and help where I can. I mean, as far as the PGCE year is concerned, we get something in the region of 20 to 25 trainees across the year.
Emma Woodcock did her second placement here and has already been offered a job for next year.
You're going to watch a clip of Shakespeare in Love, and you need to write down a list of things that you see going on in the street, all right? So you need to be having a look at everything you can see.
Joe Plummer was Emma's mentor on her PGCE placement. Their relationship will continue when Emma starts full-time work here in the autumn.
So for the second half of the lesson, we are going to write a diary extract, and you are going to write it as an Elizabethan, all right, describing your journey through the streets of London that we've just seen in the footage, all the way to the theatre.
The focus wasn't on the plot of Shakespeare in Love. I literally wanted them to look at the settings and surroundings and the costumes and how the characters behaved, and I hope it was a good clip to show them.
So who can tell me, what's Elizabethan? Yes?
It was someone who was around during the reign of Queen Elizabeth.
Excellent. Superb. Well done. Excellent answer.
She's much better at praise now, but it's very general. And there's not enough time, and I think that may be slightly the situation today, to check their understanding. And therefore there were quite a few hands up that she could have avoided some of that.
Right.
So I'm going to set those two as targets.
Well, that's something certainly in the long run, that's something we can work on, isn't it?
Joe is a skilled mentor anyway. I think I try and promote the positive working relationship with mentor and mentee.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes to start off with, and then we might hear a few. All right, well done, guys. Lovely atmosphere already.
From the moment they came in, and your attitude to them was so welcoming, they were relaxed, and that came out because of the feedback.
Do you know what you need to do?
Or you might be excited because you found a penny or something, so you can go to a theatre.
That would be brilliant. So if you were a bit poor and you found a penny on the street, which meant you could go, that's a lovely idea.
And I also thought that all the tasks flowed on very naturally to each other.
When she feeds back, she always tells me the really positive things first, so I feel really good. And then she sort of gently slips in things that weren't so good.
What would you say you felt didn't work quite as well?
I think something I could have done is gone to pupils if they didn't necessarily have their hand up, so that I could include everyone in the lesson.
I think you did that really well. I think going round, and really that's where it didn't quite fit in with your time. Some of them were missing it a little bit, right. You know, what they were waiting. And had you then read out, like Damiani's suggestion about or your suggestion about finding the penny, and so enabling her to go, you could have then said, oh, Damiani's had a really good idea.
Right.
What about if you suddenly found a penny? Or, Joe's had an awful idea. He's just been missed by some bathwater. Or get them to read it out. They don't have to read out a lot, but just to stimulate those things going on. I think that would have helped break up the lesson and kept them a bit more focused on it. What I've tried to do when I'm thinking about targets today is I'm also thinking about when you're starting next year, because I'm going to be mentoring you next year.
When Emma joins next year's NQT group, she'll learn to be a mentor herself. This year's cohort are role-playing to start getting to grips with being on the other side of the relationship.
Part of the induction programme for newly qualified teachers is that we meet on a regular basis. Every teacher within the school their first year of teaching does stage 1 mentoring.
You've said positive, 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 positive. However, let's make it a target, so it's going down then as a target, and you've set it as a target, so it can't really be overlooked.
As a mentee, I would appreciate the positive things, even like it coming out of the negative things as well.
You've got people who are 2.5 terms into teaching, and they're already starting to think about how can they support colleagues next year. So I think it is building that whole support process that I think, I think we feed from each other.
We don't get to see each other very much because we're in different subject areas, so it is really nice when we see each other at the meetings and kind of around school. We kind of go, third term, can you believe it? It is easy to forget sometimes that you're in induction, but it is important, I think, because you can't just be thrown in after training.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The PGCE training is by no means exhaustive. It's actually really important to have more training while you're on the job more with your regular timetable. It's good to know that there's people there just checking that everything's all right. It's a nice safety net for the first year. It does make you feel kind of really well supported.
Pete puts his NQTs through more than just the statutory induction process.
Every NQT in the school is required to have a total of 7 observations. Now, on top of that, I like to observe the NQTs at least twice, and in some cases 3 times during the course of the year.
I'd like you to see if you can find what the French words are for those words there in the yellow box, OK? That's their first year of French at school, and obviously their third term as well. We're learning about hobbies, free time, sports and things at the moment.
J'adore le foot. J'aime le snooker. Je n'ai pas le tennis. Je teste le danse.
Très bien.
Finalement, encore une. Ellie.
J'adore la gymnastique. J'aime le tennis.
Actually, I thought for a couple of year 7 kids that did the reading, I thought they did a pretty sound job, really, considering it was quite...
They're good. I mean, they all say that they don't really like French that much, but I always quite enjoy their lessons, so I don't know why.
Well, just occasionally I thought there was a little bit of off-task conversation when some of the kids were answering questions. There's respect for you when you're speaking. I just sometimes think that occasionally it's just listening when the other kids are talking.
What we're going to do is have a little game of battleships. So if you can take your sheet, there should be enough for one each on each table. J'adore le rugby. Je n'aime pas le tennis.
Tell me about how you feel in terms of the resources for next year.
There's Year 7 French folder, Year 7 German folder, and in every folder then there is a flip chart, colours, numbers, hobbies, sports. So yes, I will hopefully reuse them next year.
You can pack away, but you need to have your book open on the page where your homework is.
So I've got kind of the first 2 terms done and dusted and signed off, and I've got the last one in the process of finishing now, and the report's kind of due in at the end of the month, and then fingers crossed that will be the NQT year done. All of a sudden you realise you're going into the second year of your career, and we very much focus on progress and targets and continually moving forward, so you're not ever allowed to kind of just stagnate.
Tom, let's go, mate. Hurry up at the back, please. Okay, Adam, can you put yours on the base here?
I arrived from Canada 3 years ago with the intention of just coming over for a year. I've stayed for 3.5 years now. Basically, I think if you're in the UK for 4 years, you have to be a qualified teacher.
Mike's completing his overseas trained teacher qualification, and he's working towards completing not only the standards that are required by somebody who is on a postgraduate certificate course, but also within 1 year he's also completing as if he were an NQT. So he's doing 2 sets of standards in the 1 year.
You've got 5 laps. When you're done, you're going to come into here, back to the same line. Let's go.
What was your warm-up? Tell me your warm-up.
I set up the rounders field, and then it was just, I got them doing 5 laps of it, but just doing various movements. So shuffle steps, sprinting, shuffling both ways, and then a walk recovery.
That's it, fellas. 2 more, please.
I guess the idea for me was just to get them warmed up, get the pulse raised, but also in their head, get them used to running outside those bases.
Oh, I thought it was very effective use of the space you were using, because nothing worse than just sending a bunch of kids running around a field.
Yeah.
So I think it was effective in that part. Maybe think about, even at that early stage, grouping them so that Matt maybe runs for a similar distance, but he's not going to run as far perhaps as one or two of your high retainers.
Okay,
So maybe kick off from that.
While you're betting, I want you to really think about watching everybody in your group. I want you to think about their grip, their body position, and you're going to get a rounder's bat. And if you feel like you need somebody in your group might need a tennis racket to help you hit the ball, you're going to get a tennis racket, okay?
Some of the work you do with the low retainers, I think, is very effective. Your differentiation in terms of you use different bats and different weighted bats, but also tennis rackets for the youngsters who are struggling. How do you make sure that like today, how did you make sure that the higher retainers did move things on?
I think that's probably something I could have worked on more. I think there's probably 3 boys in that class who are very high ability who probably should be batting with those black bats. But it's not something I've pushed on them.
Okay, gentlemen, you need to come in here, please, and have a seat with your group. You've got 10 seconds. Okay, I want you guys within 1 minute to decide what you think 3 key points of batting are, and then you're going to feed it back to the other groups.
Keep your eyes on the ball, like proper swing and bang.
Yeah.
Hold it tightly so it don't fly out your hand when you're going to hit it.
Yeah.
Follow through.
Follow through.
I thought there was some really good use of question answer with the youngsters. Maybe just buzz round, get one from each group.
Yeah.
So you'll have that's right. You'll have covered all the bases. You'll have got all the youngsters' input.
Okay.
And maybe then you back out again. Just gives them a little bit longer with the hitting.
And no, that's probably a good idea because we are pushed for time in the lessons.
Good.
It's my 5th overseas trained teacher that I've sort of taken through this programme. They're not all as organised as the best, and so therefore I think I meet with him every 2 weeks, so we'll have that meeting, we go through his portfolio. If there are gaps in the standards, then it's my job to make sure that those standards are met.
Okay, so Ash, you're going to drop back and drop.
If I said to you portfolio, how's that coming on?
It's more organisation now because I've just been gathering a lot of evidence, and now I think I've got to sit through and find out exactly where I am short for some of the standards. But I'm pretty confident. Like I said, I've got 2 good-sized folders now.
Safe. 1 run in. Go, Fred. Go, Fred. Go, Fred.
I don't think it's a box-ticking exercise. I think it's important that we recognise that teaching in England, in London in particular, brings its own challenges.
Wicked. Okay, boys, good job. Rotate.
It was a really good lesson we saw this morning, but there were still snippets in terms of subject knowledge that need to be picked up on.
Good man. Go, Matt. Go, Matt. Go,
He's
go, go.
tremendous with the students. I'm confident come the 7th of July that he hopefully will get his OTT.
I think it's my 5th year teaching, and it's probably the most reflection I've had to do as a teacher. It's been probably the hardest year I've had teaching because it's been a lot of paperwork, but it's been probably the most positive year.
With regards to the NQT year, I think it's something like the 16th of July we're going to meet for the first time. It's nice to share experiences in that induction and meet your new colleagues because you're all going through the same thing.
I think there are teachers out there who do maybe have unrealistically high expectations of BTs and NQTs and don't have as much tolerance for the learning process. So I think that is a lot to do with personality. So we're very lucky here.